This week on the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast.
Now, what do you remember about Ghost Ship in particular?
They were fun. Yeah, I think that was what I always pinpointed with these ones, is that they were fun horror movies.
Currently has 128 reviews,
giving
it an average of 15%.
Oof. Okay, but were they looking for like a good movie?
The movie's over-the-top opening sequence is worth the price of admission alone. And I do remember that being really cool.
Yes.
Where are all the icebergs when you need one? From BBC.com. Ebert Roper, a dumb movie with dumb characters doing dumb things, and you have to be really dumb not to see where this is going. You cannot give Leprechaun 27% and this movie 15%, you fucking Pop-Tarts. It doesn't make sense. Jesus Christ.
Pop-Tarts.
Just
everyone slides off themselves.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful, like, extended ew.
The open kicked ass. And you cannot score it worse
100%.
than Leprechaun. I'm going to start getting hate mail from Warwick Davis.
Lights, camera, and action. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. Remember those childhood movies you loved? We're going to watch them again and find out if they're still as amazing as you remember. Let's get ready to join Anna and Jimmy as they go back and watch those movies you remember being oh so awesomely good. Horror movies that scared. Comedy movies that dared. Damn! And action movies so preposterously ludicrous that they defied the laws of common sense. Now, here's your hosts, Anna Santos and Jimmy Coates.
Okay. Welcome to the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast, where today we are going back to, not that far, as you said, 2002, where were we still in school? Or no, we were out by now.
That was actually the end of our program, was October 2002.
It was
I
October?
remember that. It was October.
Yeah, so
that was when
that
we
was
finished
right
our
around this time.
Yeah. Because I remember being pissed. We finished school just as the film and TV industry was winding down.
Yeah.
For the winter. I was pissed.
And yeah, because we're talking about October 25th, 2002, when this movie came out. I was out of school and I was already hungry. No money. No work to pay for food. But I was a fan of all these CGI heavy horror films of the early 2000s. I believe it started with, or at least it did for me, with The Haunting with Liam Neeson, Catherine Zeta-Jones, Owen Wilson.
Classic.
Before he was Owen Wilson. Now that one was done by Warner Brothers? No, DreamWorks.
Was it? What was? It was the one with all the locks.
Well, it was done. It was done
Lionsgate?
by. Was it Lionsgate? Well, then came House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghost Ship. All of these were done by Dark Castle Entertainment, who is owned by Warner Brothers. They also did House of Wax, Gothica, The Reaping, House on Haunted Hill 2. Obviously profitable, but they shifted to more action-oriented movies. Their last few, Whiteout, which I loved, Ninja Assassin, Spliced, The Losers, Bullet to the Head, Orphan, and the sequel, Suburbicon, Getaway. Some horror, but some action too. But I wish they would go back to like the House on Haunted Hill, the 13 Ghosts, and of course, Ghost Ship. I liked them. I thought they had they weren't overly scary, but they were gory. They had good actors in them, and they're just fun. They're fun horror movies.
They were fun. Yeah, I think that was what I always pinpointed with these ones, is that they were fun horror movies. And yeah, there was always at least one moment where you're like, ew. Or like there was maybe one jump scare, but for the most part, it was just a lot of like creepy grossness where like you had to kind of turn away for like a hot second and be like, God.
Yeah, and they had decent atmosphere.
Yeah. They pulled you in. Each movie pulled you in deeper.
Now, what do you remember about Ghost Ship in particular?
Um, Ghost Ship, I remember loving this movie because I love the idea of horror at sea, like isolated horror. That's always been my favorite. Same thing with isolated murder. I like islands and boats and things like that. Um, I remember it had a lot of gross moments, really dark lighting, which drove me nuts,
Yeah.
and I was creeped out by it. But it was a fun movie, and I remember it having good storytelling because I remember the way the story unfolds. I've watched this more recently than some of the other movies where we're like, we haven't watched it since the 90s. I think I watched this 10 years ago,
10 years ago.
8 years ago. So I still remember quite a bit of it. And I remember like you go in like the cast or the crew of this salvage team and you don't know anything and you learn with them. So I remember really liking that. I really like this movie. I really liked this movie.
Yeah,
We'll
no,
see if I still like it.
I remember the opening scene being one of the greatest horror openings. It was brilliant the way it was shot, the gore. It had at the very beginning this very Love Boat-esque
Yes.
lightheartedness to it that turned really fucking grisly really quick.
Yes.
I love the cast. The cast is still impressive.
Oh yeah.
I love it when horror movies get A-list actors and good character actors who give it their best. It just elevates it to a different level because a lot of times with horror movies, you don't always have the greatest acting.
No.
A lot of time it's inexperience. It's just what the movie can get. Sometimes they have a stellar new talent surrounded by not so great talent.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on anybody that stands in front of the camera, and the fact that you're doing it is already more than I can do. But yeah, when you watch a horror movie, especially in like the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you usually, not all the time, but usually have to lower your expectations in the acting department.
Yeah. You usually assume that there's a lot of first-time actors in it.
Yeah.
And this was not filled with a lot of first-time actors.
Yeah. And that only really started to change. Like some horror movies would always have get some decent like what was that vampire one, Next Door Neighbor,
Fright Night.
That had a great cast for an 80s movie.
Oh yeah.
Child's Play, that where the mother was a good actress, but for the most part your slashers were, it wasn't until like the 90s when it was Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, where it started to, they really actually went after young TV talent. So they had a bit of experience. It wasn't just somebody that had no experience.
Well, they were lucky because a lot of the TV talent they were picking up on were actually very talented and very experienced actors. Because we all know it was a marketing ploy. They're like, we're going to pick these super popular actresses and actors. We're going to put them in this movie. And then we're just going to like play to like the young teens. We'll put Jennifer Love Hewitt in a low cut top. It'll be fine. We'll have her scream to the heavens and everybody will go watch that. It's still one of the most like noted scenes from that movie. Nobody's talking about her actor. Honestly, this is terrible to say. Jennifer Love Hewitt was probably the worst actor in that movie.
I didn't notice.
Gee, I wonder what you were thinking about.
Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I had a crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Shocking. Shocking.
She's going to be the worst actress. I'm like, wow, she's really talented.
That was probably the movie where I realized Freddie Prinze Jr. wasn't a super shitty actor.
Actually, yeah, he's actually, I did. Yeah.
I just assumed for some reason, like I saw him in something, I think it was She's All That. And I was like, you're not very good. But then as he started doing other movies, I was like, and shockingly, Scooby-Doo.
I love Scooby-Doo movie. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Him in Scooby-Doo, I was like, God, you're actually a really good actor.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt, what was that one she was in? Heartbreakers.
Oh, God.
That was a great movie with her.
It was, I think that movie was underrated because I've always enjoyed watching it.
Oh, yeah, I remember loving that movie.
But I was like,
it was so funny.
It's a cheesy, campy, romantic comedy.
And that's where she kind of excels in those romantic comedies.
That is her genre.
What's that Hallmark, that type of movie?
Well, she's on 911. Fantastic. Fantastic. She cries a lot. It's her forte. Anyways, but that's not the point.
No.
The point is, from Ghost Ship,
it has
many
seasoned
crushes.
heavyweights of acting, like Gabriel Byrne.
Mhm.
Am I saying this right? Julianna Margulies?
Margulies.
Margulies.
Yep.
Our friend from Mystery Alaska, Ron Eldard,
Yep.
and Karl Urban. This is his first Hollywood feature role, I believe. And he's one of my
think it might
favorite
be,
actors.
Oh, he's so good. Isaiah Washington's in it. Who
Isaiah Washington, isn't he the guy
True.
that got in trouble? And
Yes, kind of a little bit had like a crappy person moment. I don't know if he's grown out of it because Hollywood never gave him a chance for a redemption arc.
and that's too bad. Everyone has. If everyone went back and recorded everything I said, oh my God.
But the real question is, when you got caught out on it, are you remorseful?
Yeah, or are you doubling
or are you
down?
just doubling down? Are you getting defensive? There's a difference.
Yeah,
he
played it
doubled
a
down
little
and he
wrong.
got defensive, and he was like, so
but he is
what?
a good actor.
He's a great actor. Incredible.
And
not
Karl
good with the
Urban, like
interpersonal.
Lord of the Rings and Star Trek, Dr. McCoy and Judge
I have
Dredd and
such a crush on
Pathfinder,
him.
The Boys, the new series.
Yeah.
And he's awesome.
I love
Anyways,
him.
okay, so that means
There
we go. The Tale of the Tape. Now, this is where this gets different.
Mhm.
So let's start with the movie itself. Ghost Ship is a horror, mystery, and thriller. It is rated R.
Makes sense.
And it comes in at a fast-paced, horrifying 1 hour and 31 minutes.
Nice.
Now we will take a look at, of course, Rotten Tomatoes. Currently has 128 reviews, giving it an average of 15%.
Oof.
Ghost Ship has over 250,000 audience scores. Giving it an average of 37%.
Dang. Okay, but were they looking for like a good movie? Or were they looking for a good early 2000s, late 90s horror movie? Because that's two different things.
Yeah. Well, like I almost
Terrible.
call shenanigans. I almost fucking know this is a movie. Like this is a good movie. That being said, I have not seen in probably 15 years, so it could suck, but I could almost swear it's good. If I had to put money down, but I also swore Steel Dawn was good. So
Yeah.
what do
Your
I
credibility
fucking know?
is shot.
Yeah, I
so-
don't. Yeah.
Mind you, apparently my memory is completely failing me. And I remember this to be a really great movie that I loved watching. So
But yeah, because Steel Dawn's a 30-year-old memory. This is like a 15-year-old memory. But let's take a look at some of the of the lovely critic consensus. With a plot as creaky as the boat, Ghost Ship fails to deliver the scares. Now, the good. On a 15% movie, there was not a lot to find, but there were some. Not a masterful script, it nevertheless gets the job done, giving us a haunting little tale set on the high seas, just perfect for a Halloween viewing.
Lovely.
The movie's over-the-top opening sequence is worth the price of admission alone. And I do remember that being really cool.
Yes.
Joe Siegel of Good Morning America says, after a very brutal and bloody beginning, Ghost Ship plays like an old-fashioned ghost story, the kind that kept you awake when you were a kid.
Yes.
It's moody and atmospheric with a lot of solid performance from the cast. That was all. I wasn't picking. That was all there was. The rotten.
That's good.
Do not board Ghost Ship. B movies can be better than this. Beck clobbers the director clobbers the audience with the most gruesome prologue I have ever seen in a horror movie, and then settles the story into a routine ghost story and bloody body count. That doesn't seem that bad. I'd be one of those friends like telling the director, like, it doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, I know.
Roger Ebert, Chicago Sun-Times. It's better than you expect, but not as good as you hope.
I feel like that encompasses what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah. That was the bad. This is the ugly.
Oh, Lord.
Time out. The final reel plots a course smack between predictable and sheer idiocy.
Well, that's nice.
The folks at Hollywood's Dark Castle Entertainment are polluting the high seas with this dead-in-the-water combo of The Shining and Titanic. 3 things can be counted on from Warner Brothers and Dark Castle's annual Halloween release. 1, a lot of spiffy special effects. 2, a fair amount of gore. And 3, not a single scare.
I feel like that last one is a lie. I feel like there was at least one.
There's got to be. And I did say this earlier. They weren't overly scary movies. They were fun, gory horror movies. I didn't say scary. It should be mentioned that the set design and interiors of the haunted vessel are more than effectively creepy and moodily lit. So I just did. Now, for that complete review, as you're reading here, that was the only nice thing that this review said. The rest of his review just slams the... Where are all the icebergs when you need one? From BBC.com. Hollywood Reporter, a lame script featuring sorry dialogue and a senseless story is more likely to provoke laughs and screams from its intended audience. Richard Roper from Ebert Roper, a dumb movie with dumb characters doing dumb things, and you have to be really dumb not to see where this is going. So that was it for our Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, I like to point out that there is a little bit of a plot twist in this movie.
Yes.
And
yeah, I kind of remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was not overly shocked, but I didn't see it coming either. I was just kind of like, oh, okay. So I remember that part where I was like, oh, okay, now all this is starting to make a little more sense.
I forgot to add one. I'm sorry. Keep going.
It's okay. No, this movie was never meant to be a straight horror movie.
No, none of them were. Not 13
Yeah.
Ghosts, not House on Haunted Hill. Again,
So I'm like, like this was never a thriller. This was like, no, actually, it's more thriller than horror. But it was just like
with really cool effects.
Yeah.
I don't know how well they've aged, but they were cool then, and that's what's the point. I thought.
I think all of those reviews were just a case of I went in looking for something super scary.
Yeah.
And this is what I got. And then
the one I
everybody's
forgot to add was how the script escaped the TBS network is one of the unsolved mysteries of modern cinema.
That's good. That's very good.
Oh my God. So let's take a look at IMDb, and they're a little more.
Okay.
Over 104,000 user reviews, giving it an average of 5.5 out of 10. That's
actually not bad.
Yeah, for a horror movie, that's makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I'm a little more worried after that. Like most good horror movies are like between the 40, 50 something.
Yes.
So this is starkly different from the other movies we have reviewed, where the Rotten Tomato audience and IMDb audience usually pretty close, 37 to 55. That's audience, 37 for Rotten, 55. And horror movies that usually fall into 55 or 5.5 can be good. They can still be shitty, but
true.
Let's take a look at the poster. And for people that are listening, I love the poster.
I love
it.
The poster.
It's just a ship with the kind of skull faded into the front of it on the ocean and the darkness around it. And it has the sea evil and then ghost ship Halloween. I like the poster. Yeah, the poster is very cool.
Poster's great. It's a wonderfully creepy poster.
Let us go to the tagline or the synopsis. In a remote region of the Bering Sea, a boat salvage crew discovers the eerie remains of a grand passenger liner thought lost for more than 40 years. But once on board the eerie cavernous ship, the crew of the Arctic Warrior discovers that the decaying vessel is anything but deserted. It's home to something more deadly and horrific than anything they've encountered in all their years at sea. Makes it sound fine. Makes it sound cool.
Yeah. I'm still not discouraged.
No. Now the taglines:
Hit me.
See evil. That's
With
the one
C
that's
being
on the
spelled
poster.
S-E-A.
SEA. How clever.
I
And
know.
that's it.
That's all you need, my
there
friend.
was no other taglines.
That's all you need.
They ran out of money, and the marketing department just like they were like, "That's it. See evil. Fuck it. There you go."
It's perfect. That's it. Also, they probably fired the marketing department after a week, and they were like, "Guys, we can't afford you anymore."
Yeah. I don't want to point fingers at anyone, but marketing department. That's the best you can. Now, there's a movie called Death Ship. It's a 1980 movie. It's about a mysterious ghostly freighter that rams and sinks a modern day cruise ship. Whose survivors climb aboard the freighter and discover that it is a World War II Nazi torture vessel. They came up with what in the living hell is on board. Those who survive the ghost ship are better off dead.
Ooh.
Out of a sea of endless terror into a world of eternal damnation.
That's a lot of words.
It's not just a ship, it's a killing machine. Like, come on, ghost ship, get your shit together. And just for shits and giggles, I am going to remind you.
Oh Lord.
Because Ghost Ship has 15. Our buddy here, Leprechaun, has 27.
Jesus.
Our audience score on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 37. Our audience score on Leprechaun gave it 32.
Concerning.
Okay, so let's watch the trailer. And maybe that will put our mind at rest.
Mr. Murphy, I'm Jack Ferryman. I fly the Arctic Weather Patrol. Last month, I was out in the middle of the strait when I came across this.
Congratulations. You found a boat in the middle of the ocean.
What do you think a ship like this could be worth? Depends on if we have the right to salvage it. I do know one thing. Sea gives you an opportunity, you take it.
Yo, Murph, I think you should get up here.
It's an ocean liner.
It's the Antonio Graza.
Any sign of what might have happened?
Nothing. No passengers. No crew. No captain. No mention of anything in the ship's log. What do you make of that?
A ghost ship.
I think I saw something I couldn't possibly have seen. I think I saw a little girl.
I know all of this isn't real.
We're all trapped here. I want to show you something.
I told you guys earlier that there was something seriously wrong with this boat. Haunted, possessed, whatever you want to call it. I said we get our boat going and get the hell out of here. What are we gonna do?
We have got to get off this boat now.
Bon voyage.
I think it still looks good.
I think it still looks good. I think that is a poorly cut trailer.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not the greatest trailer. You could have
It
done a lot
has
better.
too many. You know when they put too many cuts in the trailer to try and like amp up the audience, and all it does is make it flat because it gives you no information other than sound bites.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they did there, and I'm like, you guys, it's a disappointing trailer. So I still
Yeah.
have a lot of hope as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I have a lot of hope.
I'm always concerned going into these.
I don't know if I'd bet money on it now.
No, I bet money on none of these movies. None of them. None whatsoever.
it's one of those things. If I can't find it streaming and I have to rent it or buy it, now I don't know if I'd buy it. I might just rent it. I might not buy it.
Oh, for most of these, I end up renting.
Yeah,
I'm like, no.
After the Bernie.
Yeah, Weekend at Bernie's
fiasco
burned me, and I was like, no, sir, we are not doing that.
And I didn't pay a lot for my DVD, but it's still like, am I ever gonna?
Oh,
Although I probably will watch Bernie one more time.
I think I might have Ghost Ship on DVD.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that's helpful. Gonna see if that's a true story or not.
Well, let's go watch Ghost Ship and find out if it's as bad as the critics say it is.
You heard them. Movie time. Let's all go to the lobby and get ourselves a treat, and then watch a classic kick-ass movie from whenever the one we're about to watch was made.
And now, on with the show.
All right, welcome back to I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. We have just watched Ghost Ship. Initial thoughts.
I still like it. It's still shitty, but I still like it.
Okay, I didn't like it as much as I remember. Doesn't mean I didn't have fun watching it, but I will say this. You cannot give fucking Leprechaun 27% and this movie 15%, you fucking Pop-Tarts. It doesn't make sense. Jesus Christ.
Pop-Tarts.
That's my initial thoughts. I'm more upset at that than anything.
As you should be. I was because I remember really, really liking this movie initially. So I was concerned that this was going to turn out, like a Leprechaun.
Yeah, after reading those things, I was like,
and
oh,
reading
no.
that, I was like, am I misremembering this entire movie? And then I watched it and I was like, oh, I still like it. Like, not as much as I thought I did, but it was still a thoroughly, very viewable, entertaining, like 2000s horror movie.
Yeah.
It flowed. There's some gore, there's some oh god, and then there's some titties. And I was like, great. Thank you very
I
much,
forgot
sirs.
about the titties and I let my one daughter watch it. I was like, shit, the titties. Try not to make eye contact while we're watching it. Hoping she doesn't ask. Why is she naked?
You didn't try to cover her eyes? Because
No, she was she was all the way over on the other end of the living room. I was
so
almost
like, we're just
I almost heard myself say, cover your eyes. But I didn't. It was pretty quick. I'm like, hurry up.
No, for most of the like titty scene, the titties were covered.
Yeah.
And then there was just like a couple seconds of like full tittiness.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was like, this was pretty standard. There was some stuff that was really great about it. There was some stuff that was not so great about it, but I mean, it was still pretty good.
All right, well, let's go over the movie. In 1962, aboard the Italian ocean liner MS Antonia Grazia, passengers dance to the song Senza Fine, sung by Francesca. A young girl, Katie, sits alone until the ship's captain offers to dance with her. Actually, one of the guys gave her a little toy to play with.
Yeah.
A hand lifts a lever that tightens a wire cord. The wire whips across the dance floor, dissecting the passengers and crew. Katie is spared as the wire rips above her head, but through the captain, who is killed. Okay, I said I remember the movie having one of the greatest horror openings, and it still does.
Oh God, yeah. There's
that was a
creep
great
factor.
opening, yeah.
Because there's the initial, oh God, and then as everything kind of slides off, well, let me as everyone slides off themselves.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful, like, extended ew.
Yeah.
Oh God. And you're just cringing and you feel so uncomfortable. And I'm like, that is a fantastic way to like set the mood.
And that
for the entire movie.
Few seconds where everyone's kind of like looking like the fuck just happened.
Yes.
And then after people are trying to put their legs like trying to attach themselves like back together.
Yeah.
That was
And
awesome.
stuff is still moving, and it's so good.
Yeah, that
So
was a
good.
great open. Even if this movie just showed the actors playing ping pong or putting a piece of a puzzle together for the next hour and 20 minutes, this movie automatically gets a 5 out of 10 for me just for that opening.
It's a classic opening.
Yeah, and that we even read a critic that said that the opening was worth the price of admission alone, and they were
Mhm.
right. Yeah. What was it? 15%, you fucking
You're so mad.
like, you can hate the movie, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you are the least bit into horror movies, the open kicked ass. And you cannot score it worse
100%.
than Leprechaun. I'm gonna start getting hate mail from Warwick Davis. 40 years later, a salvage crew, Captain Sean Murphy, Maureen Epps, Greer, Dodge, Munder, and Santos, are approached by Jack Ferryman, a weather service pilot who spotted a vessel drift the Bering Sea. Okay, before that, they did a quick intro to each character doing their salvage thing, jumping in the water, welding it, and all that shit. And can I add, all these actors are good. And it's not like they're
Yeah.
phoning it in.
No.
They were actually doing a great job. And I don't think I put it together back then. Maybe I did, but Jack Ferryman, the ferry taking the souls across
Yep.
yeah.
I clued in on that because I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense." Took me a hot second to figure that one out, but I did.
It can be claimed by whoever brings it to port. The crew sets out on their salvage tug, the Arctic Warrior. The ship is the Antonio Gaza, missing since 1962. Boarding the abandoned liner, the salvagers discover 9 boxes, each containing 28 gold bars. Okay, so let's go back a bit.
Mhm.
They decide to take Jack's proposal. They
Yep.
what was it, 10-15%?
He gets 10%,
But goes with them.
but goes with them.
Right.
They get the rest of the 90%, and they
Yeah.
all split that share evenly because normally the captain takes more.
Right. Jack doesn't like life on the sea. He's getting sick all the time. They talk about rules of salvaging, couple stories. We get to know the characters a bit.
Mhm.
So the movie does give you a bit of story and
Gives you a little bit of character development, and
yeah,
they properly introduce everybody. So you get an idea of who each one of them is and what their downfall might be.
yeah. And yes, it is by the numbers, nothing original, but it's a basic story. Now they don't find the gold right away as they are exploring the ship. I wrote it down. Munder falls through the floor,
Mhm.
and as Epps is helping him up, she sees the ghost, little Katie, Emily Browning, who went off and had a great career, or is
So
having a
good.
great career. Greer starts hearing things when he's walking around. Captain Murphy finds the booze.
Yep.
And
Already poured for him.
yeah, and earlier we're told that he doesn't drink, and you can see this is going to be a problem.
Mhm.
Then they get off the ship, talk about how much money the big ship can net them, and they decide to go back and start in the morning because the boat has a hole in it and is sinking. They go back to start, and the ghosts start fucking with them. Maureen sees the little girl again.
Mhm.
Then her and Jack, the pilot, what happened? They get locked out of a room they were in. So they have to, and the ghosts are kind of opening doors to lead them.
Oh, right.
And they
'Cause
went
they're
into the room with the ghost, like where the place where they find a bunch of dead bodies first.
Yeah, no, they were going through because they were trying to secure the entire they were trying to secure the boat and to see where the damage was. So
Right.
then they're going through all of the little hallways. Jack is chattering away because he's a douchebag.
Yeah.
Anyways, so she's opening up one of the things and she's like, "Okay, sir, I might need you to help me close this up again. We're gonna see if it's flooded."
That's right. Yep.
So she opens it, whoosh, dead bodies,
Dead
but
bodies
fresh
come out.
dead bodies. Well,
Yes.
fresher. They're like
Yeah.
3 weeks to a month old.
Not
So
40.
she starts freaking out and she's all like, "Let's book it." And Jack's like, "I wonder how they got dead." And we're like, "Jack, nobody cares," but Jack cares. Anyways, and that's what happened.
And then they're led to a hold where they find the gold and
Mhm.
rats.
Oh god, so many rats.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hate it. After a series of supernatural events, the group decides to leave with the gold, but an invisible force sabotages the Arctic Warrior with a propane gas leak, and then the tugboat explodes, killing Santos.
R.I.P. Santos.
Yeah, and again, a cool scene.
Oh,
Yeah, a
very cool scene.
bunch of them almost didn't make it off.
Yeah.
Poor
It was
Santos
it
did
was
not.
a good explosion. And
Mhm.
can I just say, for like 98% of this movie, the CGI is impeccable.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like, so super good. Like, there were a couple moments where it wasn't that great, but I was like, "Shit, like, this is really, really good. Really good."
And a lot of that reason is the producers. There's 3 of them, but I know Joel Silver is one of them who did a lot of
Oh,
action movies. He did The
Robert Zemeckis
Matrix
is, I
and
think, one of
Robert
them?
Zemeckis. Yeah, Robert
Yeah.
Zemeckis, Joel Silver. So there was some talent behind this. So yeah, I
I
thought it was really well done.
I think a good chunk of the budget definitely went to effects because
Yes. Yeah.
there's some stuff where I rewound to rewatch it, and I was like, "That's fucking seamless."
Yeah.
Like, there is no glitch, there is no pause. It seemed amazing. Anyways, I just wanted to point that out.
With no other option, the group repairs the Graza. Greer encounters the apparition of Francesca, who
Mm,
seduces him into cheating on his fiancee, then leads him to fall down an elevator shaft. Again, that was a cool scene.
that was a very cool scene. Um, I don't know why, but I always in my head thought he made out with her
Yeah, I think I actually thought the same
and then,
thing. I
like,
thought
pulls
there was
back and
more
it's a
to it.
dead person.
Yeah, I think it's a different movie.
I think that's a different movie.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well,
But I
obviously,
watched
it
it and I
wasn't
was
this
like,
movie, but
but that's he
I
says
thought
that
the exact same thing. So,
he's saying he's been out on the sea, like, in his intro, it was like, "We've been out to sea for 6 months. I just wanna go home. Like, I wanna
yes.
go home." And then that is what lures him to his death.
And he actually was gonna call in the find of the boat, and the captain said not to because he didn't
Mhm.
want anyone else stealing the boat, and, like, he even said, like, he had his chance and he fucked up.
Yeah.
So he died.
R.I.P. Greer.
And, yeah, I like Francesca. She was a sexy ghost. Not after she killed him, she got ugly.
No.
Yeah.
She was not nice there, but she was very sexy.
Murphy enters the captain's cabin and encounters the ghost of the captain. The captain explains that they recovered the gold from a sinking cruise ship, the Lorelei, along with a sole survivor. Murphy is shown a picture of the survivor, whom he recognizes. He rushes to tell the others, but hallucinates and sees everyone as the ghost of the burned Santos, who provokes him into a rage. Now, by now, if you haven't guessed who the picture was of, you shouldn't be watching this movie or operating heavy machinery because you're an idiot.
I mean, to be fair, it's not okay, no. I can't even say it because 'cause I'm like, there's nothing in the storyline that tells you who it is,
No.
but the actor does such a good job of being that creepy guy.
Yes. Yeah, he does.
Like, just weird serial killer, stalker, creepy guy.
Yeah.
You're like, "Of course it's him." I don't
Yeah.
know how, but it's him.
The others think Murphy has gone mad and lock him in the drained fish tank. Epps later finds him drowned, and invisible forces open the valve, filling the tank with water. Epps meets Katie's ghost, which kind of sucked because I really like
I know, Gabriel Byrne?
Gabriel Byrne. Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah. Epps meets Katie's ghost, who reveals what happened on the Gaza. The sole survivor of the Lorelei convinced many of the Gaza's crew to murder their passengers as well as the captain and officers for the gold. After murdering the passengers, the crew turned on each other. A few critics bitched about this scene in reviews, especially because they used techno music. First, it was early 2000s. They were trying to be
Yeah.
edgy, and I actually liked it.
But it was like a weird
It
techno
was,
house.
yeah,
I made a note about it. I'm like, "The killing montage, terrifying yet mellow."
yeah. Like, would it have been more effective if it was an orchestra? Maybe. I don't
But
know.
I don't think I think the whole point of that entire killing montage was not to scare you, or it was just to make
It
you
was a reveal.
uncomfortable.
Yes. And it
It
did it.
Yeah, it's supposed to make you go, "Oh god. Oh, oh," and it does, mainly because of the music, because you're like, the music is telling me to, like, chill, pour myself a glass of wine, maybe sit by a
While all this horrendous
fireplace,
shit is
and
going
then
on.
there's just
Yeah.
like, "Here, let me put as much rat poison in the soup as I possibly can.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm gonna take this straight razor to everybody I encounter. And I'm like,
Just line people up, one after another and shoot them in the
yeah, it's
pool.
the
They
juxtaposition
dragged the
position.
12-year-old and hung her. Like, it was really
So
well,
dumb.
first and then the officer turned on
Mm,
the crew members. Then Francesca killed the officer.
yeah.
Then the mastermind behind the massacre killed Francesca by releasing a hook that slashed her neck. He then branded her palm with a hook-shaped symbol using only his hands. The man is Jack Ferryman, the demonic spirit of a deceased sinner tasked with provoking people to sin, then killing them and bringing their souls to hell. But yeah, I like the scene. It was brutal, and it was supposed to be, and yeah, and
Yeah.
it was cool. It was a cool scene.
It was super brutal. It was very well choreographed, very well shot.
Yeah,
And the music is just, it adds a very, like, not sufficient, a very definite layer of creep to it.
yeah,
And it makes you uncomfortable.
yeah, and it
And
made that whole beginning with the
yeah,
thing that was just the beginning. The officers getting killed, and there was a lot more to come
you
after
were just
that.
like, you thought this was, now here is the rest of it.
Yeah,
But we're replaying it. It's a memory, and it's not even Eps's memory. It's the little girl's memory. So Epps is just watching this like we are.
yeah,
It's just a movie for her. So
yeah,
you're sitting there and you're like, this is incredibly uncomfortable and weird. And that's great.
and some of those people deserve to go to hell. Like, not everyone,
100%.
but the ones that conspired
Oh,
to
yeah,
steal the
yeah.
gold, yeah. And they yeah, no, it was horrifying, but it was awesome. Horrifying in the best way. Epps deduces that ferryman lured the salvage team to the Graza to repair it and decides to sink it to thwart his plan. Munder is crushed to death under the ship's gears and scuba diving in the flooded engine room. That was
That
cool
made me,
too. It was
it was
gross.
very cool, but so gross. And it
Yeah, it was
made me
like,
sad.
because once his thing got
Yeah.
caught, he had no chance.
There's one shot
He's like,
of
bye,
just
man.
like his face.
Yeah,
It's not even his whole head. It's just his
just
face.
a face.
Like
And I think an arm.
landing on the, I was like, oh, the face.
Epps tells Dodge to keep Jack on the ship's bridge while she sets explosive. Ferryman taunts Dodge, mocking him as a coward for never acting on his feelings for Epps, then charges him, but Dodge shoots Ferryman with a shotgun and believes Ferryman to be dead. Then his eyes open. I mean, even if
Yeah.
you never saw this, you could piece this whole story together pretty easily. Like what was
True,
going to
true.
happen. Epps is setting explosives when she is confronted by Dodge. He tells her he killed Ferryman and that they can salvage the gold to start a life together. But Epps asks why Dodge has not asked where Munder is. Dodge morphs into Ferryman, who killed Dodge. Ferryman plans to use the Graza as a trap to continue collecting souls as long as the Graza is kept afloat. The souls of everyone who died aboard the ship will be dragged down when Ferryman returns to hell. Epps detonates the explosives. Ferryman is blown to pieces in the explosion, while Katie helps Epps escape the sinking ship. Katie and the other trapped souls ascend to heaven. They
Mhm.
really should have showed the other ones being dragged to hell.
I mean, would have been nice, but
That would have been cool. Epps is found by a cruise ship and returned to land as she is loaded into an ambulance. She sees the gold being loaded onto the cruise ship by the people who resemble her fellow Arctic warrior crew, which was very cool,
mhm.
overseen by a resurrected ferryman who glares at her and carries on. Epps screams loudly as the ambulance doors close. I love the ending. They should have had him like wink at her, though. That would have been better.
Well, no, he had to do that dead, emotionless stare that he did through 90% of the movie.
Yeah. I still would have
Because
said a wink would have been awesome. But
you
seeing
would.
the actual crew being the
Well,
ones that were loading the gold, that was
not even in.
I didn't
I
even
rewound
remember
it.
that. Yeah.
I rewound it and I was like, is that the actual crew? So I rewound and I was like, oh, no, 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 that's Ron Eldard.
Yeah.
That's definitely him. So one of them, Dodge,
Was. Yeah.
definitely was him. Probably because the stand-in guy,
I wonder if it
the
was one of
extra that
those
was supposed to.
one of those last minute
Yeah, but everybody
changes
else, it wasn't them. I think it might have been a last minute, like, "Oh, this is a great idea," and he was the only one who was still
there.
on set at that point. Yeah, because everybody else would have been done, so they would have
Yeah.
gone home because 'cause they're like, "Fuck this shit. I'm not
Yeah.
getting paid to hang around."
Yeah.
But
Just don't
he
want to
would have
say.
still been there, 1, because he was the last one to die in the movie, and 2, I think at this point he was dating or engaged to Julianna Margulies.
Oh, okay.
So he probably would have stayed on set.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he's the only actor. They were like, it'd be fun to have them. And then they were like, oh, Ron's the only one here. Let's put him in there.
Yeah, and
Let's get guys who look like the other ones.
I like the ending.
I
So,
liked it too.
score.
It's the hard one. I'm giving it a 7.3.
7.3. Why
Yeah.
7.3?
Here's why, because I think it is
Just seems like a different number.
no, because it's very, really good. So like I can definitely see why I liked it. And I would totally watch it again. Not right now because it's not streaming for free. Like I still have to rent it, but I might buy it because I was like, this was fun. It was a fun little ride. But I liked it a little bit. Like I wasn't just like, yeah, I'd watch it. I'm thinking I would watch it probably multiple times soon. But I don't think it was awesome. I think it was just a really good standard horror movie from the 2000s.
Right.
I was entertained. It had just enough ick in it for me. But yeah, 7.3.
Okay, I get why people didn't like this movie. There is nothing new here. It's pretty predictable. But saying that, I don't want to watch a smart movie or thrillers every time. Like I love Sixth Sense, You're Next, Conjuring, Memento, Knives Out, Ready or Not, on and on and on. But sometimes I just want a simple horror movie I can shut my brain off and enjoy. I was able to do this with Ghost Ship. I might not have loved it like I did, but the effects were still great. Like great. The acting, while not pushed to award levels or anything, but it was still better than average. It was good. The plot and the story was simple and even easier to follow, and let's be honest, predictable. But it's okay. Call it a guilty pleasure. Is it the best horror movie? Not even close. But it doesn't have to be because it was fun to watch, and I will watch it again. I am debating in my head because it was on sale for 10 and I rented it, and I should have bought it because I will watch it again.
Yeah.
I give it a 6.5, a predictable and average horror movie that is more fun than it sounds. It's atmospheric, it looks great, the effects are great, the acting is great, and it has lots of violence and gore. It's good. It's good. It's not kind of good. It's not amazingly good. It's just good.
Yeah. Nope. I get that. I get that.
Yeah.
I think it's a little more because there was some stuff that I didn't remember. And also I keep harping on the effects, but the effects were amazing. Like that last transition where he goes from Dodge to Ferryman,
Yeah.
it was so good.
And that's one of
I
the
was like,
reasons why like I still might buy this because it's not the best horror movie, but it's a fun
no,
horror movie.
it is.
And the effects still hold up today. And it's a 20-year-old movie.
The effects still hold up.
Yeah.
The gore factor is not super high,
No,
but
but
it's
enough.
high enough
Yeah.
that you're still like uncomfortable by it. There are a couple like kind of jump scares, nothing big, nothing like it's I hate movies that are just filled with jump scares
Yeah.
because it feels cheap. This one is a well thought out movie. It's good. Excuse me. The acting is very solid. The effects are very solid. The story is formulaic,
Yeah. Which
but
is
it's a solid formula.
yeah.
So like you said, it's a great movie to put on.
Yeah.
Rainy afternoon, you
Yeah.
just want to hang out.
I should
You're
have bought it.
you think you might doze a little bit. This is a perfect like nap movie. Although be careful when you wake up during it.
Yeah. Why?
To see a floating face.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or all of a sudden you're like, titties, dead guy, dead face. What? Yeah.
And there's movies that I think, even horror movies that I think are 9 and I wouldn't buy. Because like The Sixth Sense was an amazing movie. I
Incredible.
would not watch it over and over again.
No,
Like
not a chance.
and there are some 5 movies that I will watch and 6 and 7 movies that I will watch. And there are a lot of gripes on this movie were that there was nothing scary about it. Horror movies don't have to be scary.
Yeah.
This is not a scary movie. This is a horror movie, and not every horror movie is scary.
This is a cringy movie.
Yeah.
This is it winds you up tight and you're just kind of waiting because you're like, where the fuck are you going with this? That's what this movie does.
Yeah.
It's not. I hate to
Conjuring
say this.
is a scary movie.
Conjuring is a terrifying movie. It's a
The
scary movie.
Saw
This is
is not a scary movie. It's a gross movie.
so gross. I hate Saw.
Like, not every horror movie has to be scary.
Yeah, I think a lot of people confuse horror for constantly being afraid, and I'm
Yeah.
like, half the fun of horror is the anticipation.
Yeah.
It's the buildup.
Friday the
It's
13th isn't
that
scary. It's
tension.
fun.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Now, it is both. It's fucking creepy and gory and horrifying and scary.
100%. You can have both, but this is not one of those, because I hate it when people watch movies like this or movies like The Fog and they're like, "Oh, it wasn't scary."
Yeah.
Fog the remake, not Fog the original.
Yeah. I actually remember liking Fog the remake.
I remember liking it too.
And
I think I
again,
have it on DVD.
not scary, fun.
No, but fun
Yeah.
and kind of, tension filled, and it kind
Yeah.
of builds a little bit.
Horror.
But then it's also a little bit ridiculous, and I love that.
Yeah.
Just like this movie. They're out in the middle of, I
Again,
think it
another
starts in the
2000s movie, The Fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
And
so
actually,
good.
all these ones by Dark Castle, House on Haunted Hill, and 13, I don't think have gotten over 20% their ratings,
I mean, it makes sense.
which makes me want to go and see them. Okay, now we go to rent, stream, buy, or skip. If you liked it, then
Buy it.
I would say buy it. Yeah, especially if it's on for like $9.99 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, buy it. Because if you
Yeah.
liked it then, you're probably gonna like it now, and you'll probably watch it more than I just watched it. If I see it on sale again when I go to watch it again, I'll probably buy it. Like, I will watch
Same.
this movie probably a lot sooner than a lot of movies. If you've never seen it, I'd stream it, rent it.
I'd be okay renting as long as it's cheap rent. Like, let's be real. And if
Yeah,
you
if
can
it's
get
$3,
it for like,
$4.
yeah, $3 or
Yeah.
$4 for a rental, I'd say cool. Streaming is preferable,
Yeah.
but I don't think you'll be mad about renting it.
Yeah, if you're younger and you haven't seen it, or you
Yeah.
might. It's worth the opening alone is worth.
Oh, 100. The graphics alone,
Yeah,
like the effects. Just take a look at the effects, and you'll sit there going, "God, they did this in 2002."
yeah. And if you didn't like it, again, I
Just
don't even know why we asked this. If you didn't like it, then you're probably not gonna like it now.
Well, no, because there are some movies that you can watch and you're like, "That
That's
was a
true.
shitty," and then you get older
Yeah,
and you realize when you were younger, you just weren't the audience for it.
yeah.
This is not one of those movies.
No.
If you didn't like it when it came out, you don't like it now, and
Yeah,
that's
'cause
okay.
yeah.
20
Could
years
it be
later?
rebooted? I don't think it needs to be.
It
You
doesn't
could.
need to be, but you could do it.
Yeah,
I don't think there's a reason to do it. This one still works fine.
yeah.
It takes place in the middle of the ocean, so any, like, technological advances would be moot at this point. Like, it's not.
And I don't know with even today's technology how much better you could make it. Like, they really did a good job. Like, the boat was
Yeah.
like, the whole stuff it looked good. Like, you could
I
probably
don't.
improve a couple things, but would it be worth
Yeah.
doing a reboot?
Well, I mean, there's somebody who's like, "I could do it better."
Yeah.
And then
Make a
everybody else is
sequel.
like, "No, you can't." I'd love to see where Epps is today, or
Yeah.
Epps' daughter.
Yeah, maybe he tricks her into going to a
Yeah.
different salvage or something.
Or maybe she makes it out to a salvage and she meets another boat there, and then she realizes the ferryman is the one who lured out the other boat. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what she's done for the last 20 years.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she's stopped the ferryman from taking souls to hell. That's all she's done. She just keeps traveling and fixing things.
Yeah.
I'd watch that movie.
Yeah. I wish they would continue making them.
Yeah.
They don't. Well, they did The Orphan. Yeah, so they're still
Yeah.
doing. Yeah.
They still do the occasional one, but
But they were pretty consistent there for a few
yeah,
years of
there was a lot to choose from for a while there.
All right. The Ghost Ship.
Glad I liked it.
Congratulations. You just had one of your childhood movie memories vindicated. Or they just eviscerated it. I don't know. This is a generic one-size-fits-all type of ending to the podcast. So thank you for listening, and please join Anna and Jimmy next time for another episode of the I Remember Liking That Movie podcast. If you dare to go back and watch that movie you remember liking,